Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, April 29, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Trade unions here say they have accepted a decision taken at a meeting with government officials recently that there cannot be a payout of a month's tax-free salary for public servants at this time. The unions made a proposal for the tax-free month's salary to compensate members for the period 2012 to 2014 when there were no increases in salaries. A communique issued to the media on the outcome of the meeting held on April 24th states that Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves, who headed the government's delegation, gave a summary of the cost of the proposal estimates at $22.5 million and presented a summary of the fiscal outturn for the first quarter of 2015. The communique further states that at the meeting, which was held in a cordial atmosphere, the government pointed out that it is unable to commit to the proposal at this time without reducing expenditure on other areas such as social programs and education, and that it would review the proposal at the end of the second quarter to determine the feasibility of honoring the proposal in part or whole. The union represented at the meeting with the government officials included the SVG Teachers Union, the Public Service Union, the Commercial, Technical and Allied Workers Union, the National Workers Movement, and the Police Welfare Association. After 37 years of existence, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Cooperative Credit Union, the SVG-TCCU Limited, now has an asset base of $100 million as at the end of March 2015. The credit union was established in 1987, and Chief Executive Officer Julian Jack, at a media conference earlier today, says having reached $100 million in assets is a very significant feat and one that does not come very often. Jack says he can remember vividly when the credit union recorded its first $1 million in 1985.
Pen an article in the Saver, which the caption was "The first million is the hardest." And from that, if you compare it to now, 37 years in all, we're at $100 million. But it took us seven years to reach the first million. And so it gives some credence to my article then when I say that the first million is the hardest, and it certainly was the hardest to come by. During this period, the Teachers Credit Union would have done a number of things. We would have expanded from just teachers to family of teachers, or family of members, and now we have gone even wider. We're an organization that embraces the whole Vincentian society, whether you live in St. Vincent or whether you live abroad.
Jack says at the moment the credit union has a membership totaling 10,607.
And those are persons who would have had for 14 years and over, and who would have had what we refer to as qualifying shares and have other share capital. There's some others in it, particularly children, who we have a number of programs for, programs to help them to save money. Like we have refer to one in ASP plan, we have the school savings plan, and a couple of other plans like that, where you have children in particular who can come in and save money and help to build this organization.
Meanwhile, the SVG-TCCU has a new president and board of directors. Now serving as president is Cecil Charles, who used the opportunity at today's media conference to provide a full composition of the new board.
Sister Gwendolyn Bogan as vice president, the treasurer Brother Byron Wilson, Sister Kim Martin Jack as secretary, Brother James Jimmy Wilson as the assistant secretary treasurer, Brother Brentford Finley as a director, and Sister Delia Olivier also as a director. Teachers Credit Union value its members. In fact, we boast that every member has special value. And we seek to ensure that these members are valued in a very tangible way. In fact, I can say to you that the members own over $71 million in this organization. Own and use that kind of monies within the organization. And out of that, we have representing in the loan section where we give loans to our members for various services that in itself represents some $55.4 million.
The National Insurance Services, the NIS, has officially opened a branch in Bequia with hopes of establishing one on the leeward side of mainland St. Vincent. Speaking at the opening ceremony in Bequia, Deputy Executive Director of the NIS, Minerva Glasgow, says the goal of the NIS is to ensure that all Vincentians have access to Social Security and are given peace of mind. She says with an office now in Bequia, residents there have no excuse not to become a member of the NIS to ensure their future financial stability in the event of loss of employment and unforeseen accidents. Glasgow further states that having Social Security is fundamental to the nation's economy since it encourages productivity and reduces poverty.
Social Security is fundamental to the creation of social cohesion, the furtherance of political inclusion, and the development of democracy, and that it is an important tool for the prevention and alleviation of poverty through the enhancement of productivity. In conjunction with a growing economy and active labor market policies, Social Security constitutes an instrument for sustainable social and economic development. Respect for rights and dignity of people covered by Social Security guarantees is another target for the NIS for strengthening quality of life and human development throughout an individual's life cycle.
The University of the West Indies UWI Open Campus and First Citizens Investments held their second lecture in the series of issues on international affairs last night at the campus site with a focus on the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Head of the UWI Open Campus, Deborah Darimpa, says the academic institution chose the topic IMF 101, the evolving role and function of the IMF, with the intention of broadening the scope of discussion to enhance learning. She says the topics which are being chosen are also intended to help students garner useful information for their courses.
We have been increasing the number of lectures and workshops and other opportunities for informal learning and discourse here at the Open Campus. Our independence and emancipation lectures, I think, are well established. And more recently, we have added the Heritage Month lecture and now our international series, all of which we trust will give students and citizens the opportunity to interact with experts in their field and with each other.
Country Manager of First Citizens Investment, Nolan Gabriel, says her company is appreciative of the partnership with the university to help enlighten the public on international affairs.
At First Citizens, we are committed to the creating, the educating, the developing, and nurturing the financial markets in which we serve. It is our belief that an educated market allows for the proper functioning of our financial systems, and that this is beneficial to us all. So, it is with this belief that we allocate a portion of our annual budgets to meeting this commitment. This evening's collaboration seeks to enlighten us all on the role that the IMF plays in our region. And Mr. Mitchell, in his capacity as a resident representative for the ECCU, is perfectly suited to the task.
The IMF's regional resident representative with responsibility for the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, Wayne Mitchell, who delivered the lecture, pointed out that the IMF has a mandate to ensure global and economic stability to some 180 countries. He explains that every country with the IMF has paid what is referred to as a quota or subscription, which allows them to have a voice in decision-making processes. The IMF representative says while the institution is known for lending monies, its surveillance and technical assistance components have benefited many governments, including this country.
The very recent Banking Act that you have passed in St. Vincent, maybe not too long ago, within the last month or so, benefited from technical assistance from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. So we are providing that kind of support to buttress the surveillance and to buttress the capacity of member countries. There is even a third component, and that is actually training regimes at our Institute of Capacity Development, where we invite persons from central banks, ministries of finance, to attend courses on financial programming, on debt sustainability analysis, on government financial statistics, equipping them with the same tools that IMF staff have, thereby allowing them to come in and do their own assessments without the need of IMF staff, so you have your own technically qualified and trained persons to do the same assessments in country.
In giving clarity to the functions of the IMF as it relates to lending, Mitchell says it must be realized that the IMF does not help with developmental funds, but with temporary immediate monies needed to solve monetary issues.
So IMF financing should be seen as bridge financing or temporary financing to help address immediate balance of payments problems. If you want development financing, you go to special institutions like the World Bank or the Caribbean Development Bank or the IDB, or you engage with your bilateral partners, the Brazilians, the Venezuelans, the UK, the Chinese, to get you that kind of development financing. I say all of this to indicate that sometimes in addressing a number of fundamental economic problems, all we provide is the temporary financing and provide a framework of economic policies that can help you get out of a problem. But that never is sufficient.
Plans are being finalized for the official launch of the hottest carnival in the Caribbean, Vincy Mas 2015, with a change of venue from the Solidarity Car Park to the Victoria Park. Leading up to the official launch event at the park, there will be a number of activities throughout the day at Heritage Square. According to the CDC's shows coordinator, Marlon Stevenson, the cultural activities at Heritage Square will be both educating and entertaining.
We're starting off the launch on May the 2nd, as usual, with our Heritage Square activity. And this activity, as last year, is going to be targeted at youths. We're going to be having pan, lots of kaiso, ring games, because Carnival is about culture, and we have to try and make sure we make the link. So we're doing a number of things to attract the youths and making sure that there's a link between what is gone and what is present. We're going to be having some traditional mass characters, and we'll be narrating them so that the youths who are there, it's an education for them. And we do hope the parents bring them so that we can help to establish the connection. After all, it's culture. If the youths don't get it, we're going to lose it. So the morning program starts at 11 and it goes until 3.
Stevenson further stated that the CDC has been working to make the launch even more spectacular this year by adding several new innovations.
The new innovation this year is our celebration train. We are going to be celebrating Vincy Mas, celebrating winners, celebrating persons who have participated in Vincy Mas over the last year, and we're going to be bringing out our winners and celebrating with them. And the train will assemble at Heritage Square starting at 4:30. What we have in that train, the train will be led by Miss St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Miss SVG 2014, Shadisha George. She would lead the train, our main celebrant. We would have all the winners who have won competitions in last year's Vincy Mas would be on this train. Kaiso, Raga, Junior King, Junior Queen, all the different winners would be on this train because we're celebrating them. Program, it's going to start at 7 p.m. and we're going to have 2 speeches, live speeches. That is our chairman, because it's the official launch of Vinci Carnival, and the Minister of Culture is going to speak. We'll have other speeches from key sponsors and so forth, but that will be interspersed in the program. Those will be pre-recorded. On the program, we'll have Anne. We will have Miss SVG on the program, making their formal appearances or introduction to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a more formal way, the first live presentation. And we'll have, of course, our Calypso competition, our Raga Soca competition, and our Soca competition. We'd have Mass crossing the stage. We'd have the Juve crossing the stage. And to wrap up the evening, in our packed schedule, will be Lime Soca Fete.
Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Clayton Bergen, says that proper nutrition is critical for the development of the nation's youth because the future of this country depends on their physical and mental well-being. Minister Bergen says there is a need to instill good eating habits in the youth from an early age.
Children and adolescents consume diets of poor quality. The multiple nutrient deficiencies may result in poor growth, diminished resistance to infections, and stunted physical and mental development. At the same time, consumption of poor quality diets that are high in salt, fat, and sugar, and low in fruits and vegetables may also result in dental caries, overweight, and obesity in our children. Sustainable access to healthy foods and healthy eating habits therefore need to occur early in childhood and adolescence in order to prevent or reverse the adverse effects of underweight, anemia, overweight, obesity, and poor eating habits on child health.
The health minister also says if the children have the right nutrition, they will be able to achieve their optimal physical, cognitive, and psychological growth, which would eventually lead to more successful men and women of SVG. Minister Bergen says in order to bring about this objective, the support of all stakeholders is necessary.
Children spend most of the day at school, and they often eat 1 or 2 meals and several snacks there. Children in schools therefore consume and constitute an ideal captive audience to promote nutrition, education, and healthy eating. But unfortunately, some school environments are not conducive to healthy eating. At the national level, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues the process of finalizing a national policy on nutrition during childhood, which is being extended to address challenging school nutrition issues in the area of food, environment, physical activity, curriculum, health promotion, and health services. The support of all stakeholders is required to make our schools healthy promoting as well as child-friendly.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Louis Deschamps, is encouraging medical practitioners to constantly seek ways to enhance their knowledge. Deschamps was speaking at the graduation ceremony for 8 health professionals who graduated from the Caribbean Epidemiology and Laboratory Training Program. The training was a collaborative initiative by the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAFA, and the Ministry of Health. The Permanent Secretary says the mindset to improve one's own self also helps to strengthen capacity within the nation, as well as regional health sector. He commended the graduates for persevering and being open to learning for the year-long course through face-to-face interaction and projects, among other learning tools.
You've done what is absolutely necessary in any organization. And I'm here referring, ladies and gentlemen, to the need for regular personal and professional development in a bid to always have a well-oiled machinery, particularly in our case, for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let it not end here, however, but we must continue to build necessary capacity, given the ever-increasing public demands and expectations. We each have a responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, to meet the public more than half of the way. Let us never disappoint them.
Local facilitator of the training, Dr. Rosamond Adams, highlighted that the 8 local health workers were among several other graduates from around 60 countries around the world.
You have not just attended face-to-face training, you have also applied the concept from the face-to-face training immediately in your own work. The competency-based approach to learning is intended to support you in making the transition from what you learn in the classroom to understand how to use knowledge in your own public health practice. In graduating from a FELT program, you are joining a global network of public health professionals who have gone through similar training schemes in more than 60 countries and regions around the world.
The epidemiologist says that the training was particularly sparked as a result of the worldwide outbreaks of diseases such as Ebola and chikungunya, which health professionals have to tackle.
The past year has been a critical one for public health everywhere in the world, and we have all sought to prepare and respond to diseases such as Ebola and the chikungunya outbreak. And therefore this training program will help you in being prepared to deal with emerging and re-emerging diseases. We hope that you have recognized that building local connections with your colleagues in different disciplines or program areas helps all of us to reach our shared public health goals. We hope too that your achievements in this program will stimulate you to pursue learning through your career in recognition of the valuable time and input of your mentors and trainers. Consider how you can contribute to further cohorts of the field epidemiology and laboratory training program.
The men and women of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force were on Sunday recognized for their service with a church service under the theme 20 Years and Forging Ahead in Christ Jesus. The Lauders Deliverance Baptist Church, led by Pastor Martin Cupid and First Lady Violante Cupid, held its 20th annual service dedicated to the service provided by members of the RSVG Police Force. Addressing the gathering at the church, Commissioner of Police Michael Charles says that the police force is thankful for the initiative taken by Pastor Cupid and his wife to host the service for the past 20 years. Commissioner Charles says over the years, the relationship between the police and the public has improved, and he would like to see the service continue over the years to come.
But I remember in 1995 when this service started, like what Commissioner Toussaint stated, nobody liked the police. And after the service, I sat and I think somebody definitely loved the police. We have to continue lifting up Pastor and Mrs. Cupid in our prayers, because when all is said and done, we were not alone. I say we, meaning the police. We were not alone.
In his sermon, Pastor of the Deliverance Baptist Church, Martin Cupid, says that they are happy to be the ones who took up the initiative to start the appreciation service 20 years ago to give thanks to the brave men and women of the RSVG Police Force who daily give of their service to protect citizens and the country on a whole.
Our prayer go with all of you. We cover your family night and day. When you're out, you don't have to worry, because the God that we are serving, he said unto us, ask it shall be given, seek you shall find, knock and the door shall be open. And here we are, standing in the gap to represent the police force in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We thank God for you. We could sleep sound. Use our watchdog when we are sleeping. And for this cause, we must give God thanks for you. Why we have to give him thanks? Because you kept us safe. You watch our country. You watch our waters. You watch our business. This is something that we must turn around and say thank you. And I'm glad this evening that we are here with you to celebrate 20 years. 20 years for your hard work towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So God bless you.